Hi guys, happy new week. This is the weekly outlook video for this week, Monday 30th of January to Friday 3rd, 2023. Okay, before I proceed, if you are not on my Telegram channel, I would encourage you to join in. It's a completely free channel, completely free of charge, where I drop my daily analysis and bias for the day, okay, every single day. Okay, so this video, even though we call it weekly outlook video, it's difficult to tell exactly what is going to pan out for the whole week. Okay, so when I'm analyzing for what is likely going to play out for that day. Okay, so this video is more like what is likely going to play out for this week, for this for today, Monday, and then what is likely going to play out for the rest of the week. But just bear in mind that for the rest of the week is basically just an anticipation. Okay, as a trader, it's important to pay attention to current market trend, current price action, what the chart is telling you. Okay, so um I thought I should mention that because so a few people might think that okay, it says that DXY is going to do this or is going to do that, and it ends up not doing it. Okay, so don't take my word for it. But I can assure you that my analyses are mostly spot on. Okay, especially for that day. Okay, for today, based on what I'm seeing in price currently. Okay, so that's it. Let's get into the chart. DXY. As usual, we are going to start with DXY. So let's go to the DXY is likely going to reject from here. Okay, take out this low and drop to this level. But let's go to the weekly time frame. Let's start from the monthly. Let's start from the monthly time frame. On the monthly time frame, we see that this order block has been taken out. Price has traded below the mean threshold of the order block. So um even though it has not yet traded below the low, it's unlikely that this is going to hold. When price trades below the mean threshold of an order block, it becomes less likely to hold. Okay, so we have an imbalance here. I have this buy side imbalance here. So that would be the next draw on liquidity if this does not hold, and I don't think it doesn't look like it's going to hold. It may still hold, okay? Like I used to say, an order block, a PDRA is not invalidated until price closes below it on that same time frame or one time frame less than it. So if we're looking at this, for example, looking at the weekly time frame, so if you get a weekly close below the order block, then that means it has failed. Okay, until that happens, it doesn't mean it has failed. Okay, so so that's the level to pay attention to on the weekly. This fair value gap on the weekly, that's a significant level. So let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we have this weekly fair value gap. This weekly fair value gap from this candle's high to this candle's low. That's a weekly fair value gap. Okay, now look to your left. We also have this weekly fair value gap that price has traded below. Okay, so that gap is meant, it is not an inverted. Okay, it's not there's a principle called principle of inversion when it comes to using any PDRAs. Okay, for example, when you have an order block that doesn't hold, that is typically what a breaker is. Okay, that's what a breaker is. When another block fails, like we have here, this down close candle, okay, that failed, price traded below it, that becomes a breaker. Okay, this one too, price traded below it, that becomes a breaker. That's an inversion. Okay, inversion is applicable to all PDRAs, including all price levels. Okay, so if I say 110 is a significant price level that I think price should reject from, if price fails to reject from it and rallies above it, that level becomes inverted to act as support. So basically similar to retail support and resistance. Okay, it is applicable. This that I'm sharing with you is extremely powerful. Okay, if you go into the chart, it is extremely powerful. If you pick out any PDRA, draw it out in time. Okay, that has previously failed, draw that PDRA out in time, it becomes extremely high probability. Okay, look at what we have here. This is one of the principles I'm going to touch in the video I promised on some of the recent concepts that I discovered in the market. Okay, you see that becomes inverted. This is the reason why price did not trade back up to fill the whole of the FEG. This that I'm telling you right now, okay, is extremely powerful. Okay, this is one of the ways you know when a fair value gap is unlikely going to completely fill up. This is how you know when another block might hold or might not hold. Okay, so this is very important. There are a lot of other things I will be sharing, okay, by the time I start the series on algorithmic principles. Okay, so this is an inverted fair value gap. Price has traded below it, it should act as resistance. Okay, so if this should act as resistance, the next target is usually a sell side, okay, a swing low. That would be this swing low. So that's why I have been quite reservative about this low getting, if this low is taken out. Okay, so but you just don't know, it's best to just take it one layer at a time, one level at a time. But at the moment, let me hide this. At the moment, we have this weekly fair value gap as well. That is a draw on liquidity. FOMC might drive up into that level. FOMC or non-farm payroll, particularly non-farm payroll, can drive up to that level. Okay, but preferably, I think it's likely that price will trade into it. It's very, very high probability that price will trade into this level, okay, for the week. Okay, because generally once a PDRA fails to hold, the algo has to return to it. Okay, it has to, it always does. Okay, it has to return to it. When a fair value gap does not hold, when any price level, significant price level does not hold, the algo would have to return to that price level. Okay, so I think that it is very high probability that we would get a run into this fair value gap. When that is going to happen, I don't know. If it's going to be this week, I don't know, but that's something to pay attention to. Let's go to the daily time frame. On the daily, we have a swing low. Okay, this is a swing low. This low is a swing low. This candle and this candle, they are both higher up than this middle candle. Okay, and when you have a swing low like this, if price should trade above this guy, okay, if price should trade above this level, there is a high chance that we will drive up into the weekly fair value gap. Okay, we have daily fair value gap, weekly fair value gap, but I wouldn't want to see that this daily fair value gap traded into. Market should find its way up to this level. Okay, I'm anticipating that this can happen, that market can drive to this level, because this week is likely going to be a big range week. We have two big high impact economic events in the same week. Okay, Wednesday FOMC and Friday non-farm payroll event. Okay, so non-farm payroll oftentimes might end up being bearish for foreign currencies because the job numbers have just been crazy. Though it is reducing now, but let's see. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this is a strong draw on liquidity. Okay, this is a very strong draw on liquidity. If DXY should rally up above this high, then it's likely going to expand to the upside. Um this is daily. Let's see what Monday's range will form. Okay, if this should become a swing high and price trade through it, okay, this low becomes less likely to be taken, then price is more likely going to rally up to the upside and then before it tumbles down. Okay, 4-hour time frame. This is the same weekly and daily levels. We have this volume imbalance right there. Um, let's see. Hmm. DXY looks bullish to start the week, in my opinion. I think this looks bullish. Okay, take out this high. I think DXY is very likely, is highly likely to expand to this fair value gap. Okay, this fair value gap. I'm leaning more to the upside than to the downside based on this market structure on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, because here we see that this is a swing low. Price has traded below this swing low. Coming. This is a swing low. Price has taken liquidity below it, below this level as well, and rallied up, broke structure to the upside. That's a market structure shift. Okay. Any PD array that it creates around this level, when we get to the 1 hour, we'll look at it. We also have this volume imbalance here from last week. There is a gap here from last week, I can remember. So if we go to the low time frame, let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Now this is getting quite interesting. Um, this is getting quite interesting because there is no fair value gap. The only significant fair value gap is this one, and price has turned it into resistance, except it turns over and turns this fair value gap into support, then I would want to say rally higher. But this liquidity down here, they look very likely that they are going to be taken. So perhaps the market is going to build liquidity down first before it then rallies up to this level and then drops back down to take the liquidity. I don't know, but then when it goes to low time frame, we should have an idea of what is likely going to happen. But the important level to pay attention to for this week is this price level. Okay, this price levels. If DXY should take out this high, okay, then this might be a long-term low. Okay, this might be a long-term low because we have this intermediate term low here. We have this intermediate term low here as well. Okay, so this is an intermediate term low because we have short-term low to the left and right of it. This is a long-term low. This is looking now like a long-term low. Okay, this is looking like a long-term low. Okay, but all this liquidity down here, I don't see the market leaving that behind. Okay, I don't see that. I think there is a high probability to still strip down to take it. Okay, but right now I would like to see a rejection from here to drop down to this volume imbalance. Okay, and this fair value gap right here. Okay, I would like to see that. I would like to see the market, and if you extend this fair value gap right here, if we extend it out in time, okay, you can see how it held price. So this gap is going to be extremely important for this week. I think that this gap is going to act as support for DXY to run this high. We have relative equal highs here. That is buy side liquidity, and we have some filled fair value gap above as well. So I think that once DXY can drop down to take out liquidity here and finds a bottom, the next level will be this high and potentially this high. If this high is taken, then it's highly it is going to be highly indicative of an upside expansion to this level. Okay, I think the volume imbalance and the um, weekly fair value gap is a strong draw on liquidity for the week. Okay, now let's go to the low time frame, 15 minute. Let's see what is going on there. Okay, so on the 15 minute, we have these are levels I've outlined beforehand. You can see how the market rallies into it, rejected, rallies into it for the second time, rejected, but it rallies above it. Okay, even though that looks like a liquidity sweep, it rallies above it. Okay, and we have this gap here. When price opened, it rallied up, only buy side was provided here. Okay, so if the market should come back down, I'd like to see a rejection here. Okay, to come back to this fair value gap. Okay, we have short-term low, and watch if it turns this fair value gap into support, or this one, it drops down to this level and turns it into support, then this high becomes the next target. Okay, depending on what price does. Okay, but what I'm anticipating right now is why is my okay. Okay, so I'm trying to check the midnight opening price. Um okay, this is what I'm trying to check. If it should take out this high, this is a high to watch on DXY. Okay, we have sell side liquidity below here. We still have this gap that is yet to be filled. So if market should come back here, I think this would be a high probability short on EUGU. So if DXY should come to this level, I don't think it will take out this low. Okay, if we should drop to this level, I think this would be a high probability before taking this high. Okay, if we should drop to this level before taking this high, I think this would be a high probability short on EU and GU. Okay, so I like that rejection. I like that rejection. Yeah. So I don't see taking this level yet. Okay, I want to see drop down to this level before it takes out this high. So if we should drop down to this level, before it takes out this high, okay, or it uses this level as support. So if it comes here and we see some kind of support around here, okay, at this level, particularly this level, okay, particularly the opening price. Okay, normally we would expect that price should first drop down below the opening price. I like this volume imbalance. I think that because market has rallied up, broken structure 3 times to the upside, if it should come here, I think we'll get a strong reaction. Okay, especially if it doesn't take out liquidity, all these highs, this equal high, these short-term highs before it drops here. If it drops here first, leaves all these highs, then this would be a high probability short on EU and GU in my opinion. Okay, so what I would like to see on DXY going into the week, I want to see this um this is now an order block. Okay, so I want to see it return into this level. Okay, now it depends on what happens here. Okay, if it should use this level as support, and runs this high, but I wouldn't want to see that. I wouldn't want to see that. What I would like to see, maybe we might get a short-term bounce, and then I want to see take out these equal lows. Okay, I want to see take out these equal lows into this level. We have 1 hour fair value gap here, and inside of a volume imbalance that has held price. Okay, a volume imbalance that had held price. So price has showed a willingness to move away from the volume imbalance even without getting to the mean threshold. So if we should get a return to the mean threshold, okay, to fill the rest of the imbalance, that become balanced, and I think there is a high probability that it will most likely rally from this level, okay, and then use all this fair value gap as support to run this high, and then perhaps a strong rejection there or this level. Okay, these are levels to pay attention to. These are levels. Okay, so that's what I would like to see. Pay attention to this level, this fair value gap. Okay, that fair value gap might provide, I think we'll get a nice rejection from here. Okay, might get a rejection from that level, perhaps into a discount level before it then runs for the high. Okay, before it then runs for this level, turn this area into support if it is able to, and then drive higher. Perhaps once it takes out this, where is that high that it needs to take out? I think it is this one. Okay, but at the moment, these are the levels that I want to see price trading to. Okay, preferably I want to see this low remain intact. I want to see this volume imbalance support price. Okay, and we might get a strong rejection from here. Okay, might get a very strong rejection from here. Now this all depends on what happens here. If this low is not, this high is not taken out, or this high is not taken out before this level is taken. Okay, if price should drop down first to take out I'd like to see the sell side taken first. Okay, I'd like to see price drop down to take out this equal low, but pay attention to this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, because it has dropped down below it and rallied above it. Ideally you want to see it turn into support, okay, to attack this high. So just watch the low time frame. If it forms a bullish structure on top of the 15-minute fair value gap, okay, then it will rally up to take out this high. Then it's likely then going to use this 5 minutes as support to this level. Okay, so that's what I'm anticipating. This is the opening price at midnight, and let me see the opening price at GMT open, and here we have, okay, so it is rejecting price. Okay, so that's what I would like to see. Okay, that's what I would like to see. I don't want this equal low to be left behind, but it could. Okay, it could because of this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, like I said, when the fair value gap turns into, you know, when it fails to hold price, when price traded below it, ideally you want to see it turn into resistance to attack liquidity. But now it has rallied up above it and closed above it. Okay, so ideally you want to see it turn into support. Okay, when you see this level turn into support, so that's something to pay attention to. So it might end up not dropping down to this level yet. Okay, perhaps it will run up first before it then come down. I don't know how the market is going to do it. Okay, but right now, this is tilting a little bit more to the downside, in my opinion. I think this is tilting more to the downside. Okay, so I want to see this low preferably. I want to see it taken out before it rallies up to this fair value gap, this equal high, this 15-minute fair value gap, potentially this level and the upside levels that I drew your attention to on the weekly time frame. So that's that for DXY. Let me see what is going on the 5-minute time frame. So on the 5 minutes, I think this low is very likely going to be taken. Okay? This low is likely going to be taken. This fair value gap, I expect that it should hold price. Okay, so right now a long on EUGU is more probable. Okay, this level, that's fair value gap. This fair value gap should hold price. Okay, it should. Okay, if price rallies into it, I want to see a drop from it to this level. Okay, and then would have to see what happens. Okay, if it drops down aggressively below this fair value gap, then it will use it as resistance to attack this low. But whatever happens, I expect that this, if price should trade into this imbalance, it is not yet balanced, so I expect that price should trade into it. Okay, because buy side was provided, sell side had not been provided, so I expect that as price has rallied up above, it should drive down into it and then impulsive reaction of it. That's what I would like to see. Perhaps Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know, but that is what I would like to see. And we still have all this trend line liquidity down below here as well. So we have high impact news, and high impact news generally they tend to attack liquidity. So these levels could be traded to. Okay, this liquidity can easily be taken, but I wouldn't want to see that. Okay, let me go again to the 1 hour time frame. Mhm. So this low, I don't want to see this low taken. Okay, we've seen 3 drive, 1, 2, 3. We saw an impulsive reaction of it to take out a high. That is extremely significant. That is very, very significant. So, and the fair value gap that was inverted here was used as support. Second time here, it was also used as support. Okay, and we have fair value gap at this level, 1 hour fair value gap that I think price is going to trade into, and then we'll get a reaction of that. I'm leaning more towards this bias. So I'm leaning more towards a bullish sentiment on DXY. Okay, and you would also see from the COT report. Let's check out the COT report. Let's check out the COT report. Um, so if we look at the COT report for last week, that is as at Tuesday last week, we have, so for January 24, the COT report for January 24. If we look at British pound, now I just released a thorough video on how to interpret this whole data, okay, and how to use it for weekly bias. So you can check out, I recently just uploaded it. I would also add a link to this video, okay, so check the video description, the COT link will be there, okay. So I explained how to, so I'm not going to go over to interpret this data, but basically this is basically the net positions of the commercials, the um large hedgers, the banks, okay, the smart money, okay. So those are the smart money. So this is showing their aggregate positions, their net positions, okay. So if you look at euro, we see that euro has 186,450 net positions. That means they are net short, okay. They are heavily short on euro, right? Here at this 1, 2, 3, about 4 weeks ago, December 27, they had the highest amount of short they've ever had on in the last 1 year. So that's very, very significant. Okay, and we've seen price trade into a significant higher time frame level, which we will look at shortly. Why is this loading? I don't know what is going on. Okay, perhaps this is refreshing, so let me just wait for it to refresh. Okay, it has refreshed. So, and if we look at the US dollar index, we see that this is the highest amount of long positions they have ever had on in the last 1 year. Okay, this that's the highest amount of long positions, even though they are still net shorts. Okay, they are still net shorts, that is, they still have more shorts than longs. But the fact that they are opening the highest amount of longs they've ever had on in the last 1 year is significant for the US dollar index. It's very significant. Okay, so hmm. Okay, so leaning more to the bullish side on DXY until my idea is invalidated. Okay, so let's go back to trading view. Okay, so yes, this is what I would like to see. A drop below this equal low and then a rally to the upside. Obviously, if something changes, I'm going to post it on the Telegram channel. Okay, my daily analysis, my daily view as the market is painting, I will always drop it on the Telegram channel. So do well to join if you are not on the channel. Now let's get into euro and GBP. Now that we know have a bias on DXY, then we are going to look at euro and see what is likely going to play out. Now this is very interesting. Well, let's start from the weekly time frame. Let's see the monthly if there's anything of interest. On the monthly, we have a tiny fair value gap here that has failed to hold price. Okay, but let me drag it out in time because it is also going to be significant even though it didn't hold price. So that's gap monthly. It's going to be important. Okay, so this level could be traded to. I don't want it to. Okay, I don't want it to. I think the equal high, this old equal high I will show you on the daily time frame is the level I'm watching. Okay, and we have weekly fair value gap. So let's go to the weekly time frame. Just bear in mind that also on the monthly, this is going to act as a breaker. Okay, this down close candle would act as a breaker. This is a breaker. Okay, this is the inverted fair value gap on the monthly. If price trades there, there is high probability it is going to reject, but I don't want to see price trade to that level. The highest I want to see it run to is this old equal high, which I will show you shortly on the daily time frame. So on the weekly time frame, let me clean this. On the weekly, it's important to pay attention to how this weekly closes. Important to pay attention to how this week is going to close. Okay, but on the weekly, we have um small tiny little fair value gap here. We have this volume imbalance, right? And we have this weekly order block. Okay, this is a weekly order block. This order block took out this short-term high. Okay, that took liquidity. So that means they don't need to come up here again. Okay, they don't need to come up to this level. So I don't want to see price drive to this level. It should not. So if you are a long-term or a positional trader, I think this is a really high premium level where you can begin to scale in into your positions. Okay, price should not go back above this high. It shouldn't. Okay, it should not take out this high because this high is an intermediate term high. We have this short term high. We have this short term high to the left and right of it. So that high should not be taken. If price should take it out, what it means is that it should not trade back below this low. Okay, that means this fair value gap has to hold price. If this intermediate term high is taken, it should not go back below another intermediate term low. Okay, so it should not come here. It should not. Okay, so I'm absolutely certain that the top is forming around this level. Okay, of course, with trading, you can never be certain with anything. Okay, you can't be absolutely certain, but there is a high probability that the top is already forming at this level, in my opinion. Okay, so let's go to the daily time frame. So I can show you the equal highs. This is equal high right there. Market is still yet to trade into it, and we have fair value gap above it. Okay, not only do we have fair value gap above it, we also have a breaker here that is still yet to be traded into. Okay, this breaker right here, let me show you right there, that breaker. Price is still yet to trade into it. When price moved away from it, we've never seen a return to it. Okay, so this level becomes an extremely high probability level, an extremely high probability level that if price should trade to it, it is likely going to reject price. Okay, so something to pay attention to. I think I should leave this on my chart. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So what is happening? If I'm short-term bullish on the if I'm bullish on the dollar based on current market price action, then what I would like to see is for EU to rally into this level before. Let me see the market structure on the 4 hour. Um hmm, well, on the 4 hour, the market is still looking bullish on the 4 hour. We have equal lows here, that's sell side liquidity, and we have buy side liquidity above. We still have the equal high, the old equal high I mentioned, and we still have the breaker as well. So there is a confluence of multiple support, multiple resistance levels in PDRs, layered PDRs at this level. We have the breaker, we have the fair value gap, we have that equal high. It's very significant. Okay, it's very significant. And we have another PDRA. This is a PDRA that ICT did not teach, but something that I came up with. Okay, the NOB. Okay, but that's not something to talk about right now. Later on, I'll make videos on it. So that level is an extremely significant price level that if market should trade into it, it is likely going to reject. Okay, so I'm anticipating a run on this high. So if I'm anticipating a run on this high, that means DXY, therefore now DXY has broken structure. If we should take out this high, that's the level that I'm going to watch. We should take out that high. Um Now this is I like what I'm seeing so far so good on DXY. Okay, but I don't like how it is rallying to the upside. Let's check the 5 minutes. This high, I don't like I wouldn't want to see that high taken. We have another short-term high here, so this is like a relative equal high. Okay, if that high is taken, then it becomes more likely to hmm, preferably I want to still see drop down. Okay, use this fair value gap as resistance. But if it rallies up and take out this high, then that means it is coming to this level to reject. Okay, but preferably I want to see it tumble down. Okay, I want to see it turn down. 1, 2, 3. I want to see it drop down. Okay, I want to see this area act as resistance. It has acted as resistance here. It's coming back to it again the second time. So if it takes out this high, what remains is that this low is likely not going to be taken anytime soon. Okay, until it reaches for imbalance or liquidity. So let's go back to EU. DXY is looking like it's not going to. DXY is looking very bullish. Okay, I think it will turn this into. So that means no discount level. I was hoping that when it drops here, then we get a little bit of rally on EU and GU where I'll be able to sell shorts at premium. That is what I was really hoping for, but right now it's looking like DXY is going to um this is 153. It's not yet. Well, this is level I'm watching, okay? So whatever it does in between, I don't care. So I want to see price trade to this level. This is where I would be interested in taking a long on EU and GBP. Okay, I think this is going to be a high probability level to um for DXY to bounce. Okay, but if it takes out this high first and trade to this level, um this is also a level where this is also a high probability area where it should reject. Okay, this level right here. Those are the two levels I watch. So whichever one it trades into first, then I'll look to see if I can get a short setup. Okay, I'm not just going to jump into the market and take trades. I'm going to look, I'm going to watch for setups on the low time frame. So let's see 1 hour time frame on EU. EU still needs to run this old eye. I wouldn't like to see it leave it behind. It still needs to run that old eye. We have this equal low here. Okay, now this is looking interesting. On the 1 hour, markets are switched bearish. This fair value gap, market has used it as resistance. Initially, I was hoping it turns into support to run into this level where I would sell short. Okay, this is the level I was looking to sell short, 1.08884. Okay, that's a very significant level I think that you should note on your chart. And this level, okay, so I'm looking to go long below this equal low, look for a long setup once price trades to this level, and then target the untapped highs. So it looks like it wants to come for this level first, and then DXY wants to run to this imbalance first, and perhaps this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, what I would like to see, what I would really love if it happens. Obviously, the market doesn't care what I think, but what I would love to see happen is if EU takes out this low, this sell side liquidity below here, if it drops down to that level and DXY fails to rally above this high, maybe comes to this level, that will be an SMT divergence. That will be a weakness on DXY. That means if there is weakness on DXY, this level becomes less probable to hold, but I still think it is going to be very significant. Okay, maybe a short-term bounce from it before it continues to downside. Okay, but on EU right now looks bearish because this is now an order block. So you would expect that that other block should hold. This might just be Judas swing. Okay, this could just be Judas swing. Like I said, if it takes out this high before taking this low, before dropping down to this level, then a long from here is no longer high probability. Okay, a long from here is only high probability if it drops here first, because that way we'll have buy side and imbalance at the top that we can target. Okay, but if we should run there first, then that would make this level the draw. So this will be the take profit level. If it comes to this level first and we see a short setup, we see a shift in market structure, then this is the level to run to next. So EU, let's see 15 minutes to see how a setup can be framed. Um, these are levels I've outlined since last week. See how the market is still respecting these levels. Okay, see how it is still respecting the levels. I love this area. I love this level for a short. I love it. I was hoping the market can drive into this level where I would go short, but right now I don't. Mhm. We have another block here, and we have tiny little fair value gap before the other block, and the low of this candle is going to be very significant. So coming took, we might get a bounce from here. Okay, this is a possibility. Before it then rallies down, forms a bottom, and then rallies back up. Okay, I like this idea. I love this idea. This fair value gap is high probability, in my opinion. That was my plan. Okay, before I started this analysis, my expectation is for EU to rally into this level where I would sell short. Okay, and then attack this lows. Okay, but if we should take out the lows first before coming for this level, then this become less probable. Okay, I think that, so let's see if I should get a long from somewhere around there. This is what I think is likely, especially considering the fact that this is Monday. Okay, so I think that a bounce from here is very likely. Okay, a bounce from somewhere around this level, this level 1.08508, okay, is very likely. Okay, is very likely. Um, somewhere here, I think a short-term bounce from here, I wouldn't rule that out. Okay, I wouldn't rule that out at all. Just that it is not going to be high probability, okay, because of this equal low below it, right? So if you are going to take a long, it's just better to wait for this equal low to be taken. I believe if this equal low is taken, then we should get a high probability long from around this level or this fair value gap to attack all these untapped highs. Okay, so that's this is a level to pay attention to. 1.08508 is going to be a significant level to pay attention to. And so if a long forms somewhere around here, you can target this level and look to take a short from this level down to this level, and then look to frame a long from this level to, so something like this. So if it turns this level into support, turns this one into support and rallies for the weekly fair value gap, and then perhaps a rejection from there. I like this level. So this is just a narrative, okay? This is just a narrative. This is like an expectation of what I'm anticipating basically. Okay, so don't take it as this is something DXY must do. Okay, but I like this, I love this, I would like to see something like this. Okay, I don't see price leaving all these highs. Okay, I don't see that. I don't see this happening. Or it runs up first to that level before it then drops down. Okay, so but I would prefer it runs here, drops down, then forms a bottom here, rallies up, then rejects to attack all these lows. So that's what I'm anticipating for DXY for this week. I mean for EU for this week. So that supports my bullish bias on DXY. Okay. This was rejected again. I wouldn't like this high. I would like if it drops down here. That will allow that will allow EU to rally to this level. If DXY can drop down here, that will allow EU to rally to this level for an extremely high probability short to target this follows. Yeah. Okay, so that's that on DXY. On EU, let me even see what's going on the 5 minutes. On the 5 minute structure is already bearish. However, this could be a Judas swing. Okay, so I like that. If this could be a Judas swing, I love 1.08508. I love this level. I like to see this level act as support. If it drops there for a long to this level and then a rejection from there, that's what I would like to see for today. That's what I would love to see to start the week. I would like to see this. All right, GU. So let's go to the. I'm spending a lot of time on this analysis because I want to try and as much as possible to be thorough. We have this weekly fair value gap, price traded into it, we rejected from it. Now, if we are bullish, ideally, if we are bullish, okay, price would turn this fair value gap into support. Okay, so its failure to close above it at the first visit is significant. Okay, significant. But if we get a daily close above it, then that would mean it will turn into support for a leg higher, which I don't want to see happen. I don't see that happening. Okay, I don't see that happening. I think that the top is forming just like EU because that's a fair value gap. Let's go to the daily. On the daily too, we have this fair value gap that has been rejecting price. Okay, rejected price here and it rejected price here. Price is coming there again for the third time. Okay, so let me go to the 4-hour time frame. This is I don't want to see price trade below this low before it runs for this level. Perhaps, okay, let me mark out this level. And it may not, okay, but I would like to see it do that. I like to see it take out that level, reach for that level. And this structure is a little bit confusing. 1 hour time frame. Price is using a previous fair value gap as support. Okay, so that's bullish. It has closed bullishly above it and is using it as support. So that's a bullish sign. And then another fair value gap also using that level. Look at how the bodies of this candle stayed above the fair value gap. So that's significant. You can see that GU is the stronger of the two pairs if you are looking for long, and EU is the weaker if you are looking for shorts. Okay, so the levels to watch, we have sell side liquidity here, equal lows, and we have equal highs here as well. So it depends on which one is taken first. Okay, if this sell side is taken, then I think it is more likely going to trade into this other block and this level, this price level that I outlined here. Um, I see trading to this level. But right now, this is looking looks like EU is going to take this equal high, this buy side liquidity, that buy side liquidity, and then reject to run the sell side. This is Wednesday's low. Let me check EU. EU. This is Wednesday's low. We want Wednesday's low to be taken here. While on EU, we want this is Wednesday's low to remain intact. Okay, so that will also be an SMT divergence. So looking to see if let's see the XY. So I love this 1, 2, 3. That's a 3 drive. I love that. So if DXY can, I like the fact that it has closed below this fair value gap now. So if DXY can turn this into resistance, trade down, that would give EU an opportunity to take out this GU, rather an opportunity to take out this relative equal high. They might leave these equal highs. Okay, so it might just run into this level and reject. It might just run into this level, reject, but if it takes out the equal high, then that becomes high probability to take out this low. Okay, but I wouldn't want Wednesday's low to be taken. That would be an SMT divergence between EU and EU and also DXY. If DXY fails to take out its own, if DXY fails to trade above this level, okay, this is Wednesday. Where's that Wednesday's high? That will be Wednesday. This is Wednesday. This is Wednesday's. Trying to this is This is Wednesday. Okay, and this is, let me check the one. I'm trying to like create a I'm trying to see if I can frame a possible SMT divergence between EU and GU based on this analysis. Okay, we want EU to take out its low. If DXY fails to rally above, that has to be Tuesday's high or Tuesday's low. This is Tuesday's low. Okay, so it takes out Tuesday, not Wednesday. EU takes out Tuesday's low, and DXY fails to do the same thing. That will confirm a rejection on DXY to take out this downside liquidity, and on the other hand, on EU, it will confirm a long to take out all these levels. Yes, I think it's looking quite nice. It's looking good for the week. So this is what I would like to see. So that's that. For those for BTC, I think I promise I'm going to touch. Okay, before I move on to BTC, let me first touch on US. I don't trade US 500 because on FTMO the spread is always crazy. Okay, but these are the levels I'm watching. These price levels, these are the levels I'm watching. I think that this is the main threshold between this high and this low. That's the main threshold, and we have a breaker here. So I want to see price drive into that level and then come for this level less and potentially these levels. Okay. Um. So these are the levels I'm watching. Okay, these are the levels, the fair value gaps. Just extend them out in time. These are levels where you want to look for longs, or you want, if you are long, you want price to use it as support. If you are short, you want price to use it as a resistance. So extend that out in time. So this level, okay, I think a run on this level again is going to be very, very, very high probability, especially if price takes out this low both on US 500 and US 100. If this low is taken out on US 500 and it's not taken out on US 100, you should be careful. You should, tread with care. But I think that even without this low being taken out, if price should come back here, I think this is going to be a high probability short to take out these lows to trade into this level. Okay, this two fair value gap, and wait to see if the market will be willing to use the fair value gap as resistance to trade down to this level. Okay, so that's that for the for EU, GU, and US 500. Last but not the least, BTC. What is the least for me anyway? I don't trade BTC, but because of those who have been asking for it, that is why I want to look into BTC. Um, this was a level that I outlined long before now on the group chat that BTC should top if it is going to be bearish. Okay, it should find a top between this level and this level. Okay, you can draw, if you draw a line from, that is the main threshold. Okay, ideally it should drop from around the main threshold from around this level, but I don't see a reason for a drop right now. Okay, the market structure is still bullish, but we have sell side liquidity below here that's taking buy side. So if it breaks down and creates a fair value gap, okay, I think if it should break down below this low, if you trade down below that low or this low, but this is also alright. If you trade below this low and create a fair value gap, I think that would be a really good short opportunity to attack these relative equal lows. Okay, we check the 15 minutes. So the market structure is still bullish. Maybe it is going to take out Monday's high. Okay, so maybe a rally to take out Monday's high. You can measure that mean threshold. That's mean threshold that I measured on the 1 hour. So maybe a rally into that level and you want to say breakdown that creates a fair value gap. Then you can use that breakdown as, or this level. Okay, this level, if price rallies above it and comes back below it, it should use that level as resistance. Okay, so that's for so let me see. So something like this, maybe if you get another drive to take out that level before taking out the short term low, it doesn't have to run it again, but if it runs it, okay, and then quickly rejects and close below this buy side liquidity, okay, it is likely going to use it as resistance to attack the sell side. Okay, and then you would have to then watch to see what happens for the rest of the week. All right, so that's what this is what I'm currently anticipating. Okay, no confirmation, short confirmation if it takes out this low. This is a low you should be watching. Okay, if you should take out that low, right, and you see a fair value gap form in the process. Okay, if it takes that aggressively and you see a fair value gap form in the process, if price returns into it, that, in my opinion, will be a high probability short to take out this sell side liquidity right here. Because this is also a three drive. If you don't know, this is one drive, two drive, third drive. When you see a pattern like this, okay, it is a high probability short. So that's that. Thank you for watching. If you have any videos, if you have any questions, rather, you can feel free to ask in the comment section or drop them on the Telegram channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.